Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now I will present about my article I find in internet. Okay, there are 6 outline I put in my PowerPoint. The first one is keywords, the second one is abstract, the third one is introduction, the next one is methods, the next one is result, and the last one is conclusion. In the article I find 7 keywords. The first one is victimization, the second one is aggression, the third one is social exclusion, the fourth is school intervention, the next one is legal intervention, and the last one is pupil harassment. Okay, abstract in the article. The effects of bullying on the bully and the victim can be wide-reaching, impacting schoolwork, familial and peer relationships, psychological well-being, and physical health. Most U.S. states have enacted anti-bullying legislation that prohibits bullying behaviors, but definitional issues that are present in the empirical research they are also present in such statutes. Bullying victims also have the option to bring civil suits for tortious acts related to the bullying. This review provides example of the vehicles with bringing such case. Okay, we move to the next one is introduction. In introduction, in general, empirical research on youth-to-youth victimism or bullying started, or at least growing with focused Norwegian research than always in the end 1970. Much of the early research was conducted outside the United States and focused on overt bullying, but the research has expanded into a much broader scope. Bullying, as defined by always, occurs when a student is exposed repeatedly and over time to negative actions on the part of one or more of the other students. The relationship is characterized by an imbalance of power between the bully and the victim based on physical size, strength, age, or social status. Bullying is intentional, repetitive harming of injury by one's peer. The topic of bullying has become an all-too-common story in the popular media. Such attention has been particularly poignant in the tragic cases of extreme forms of bullying, or in cases related to victim suicides, to especially violence retaliation such as school shootings. In its instance, the problem of bullying broke into the public consciousness. Although bullying is just one of the many ills today's youth encounter, empirical research findings demonstrate that it deserves special attention because of its far-reaching consequences and the way it is related to other problems youth face. We outline the risk factor related to being a bully or a victim and the effects that involvement. In the remaining sections, we describe some of the known insulation factors that seems to protect children from bullying and its effect, and lastly, educational and legal interventional with specific attention to statutory intervention. Okay, there are 5 points I find in the article. The first one is defining and measuring bullying. The second one is risk factors related to bullying involvement. The third one is insulating factors. The fourth is bullying intervention, and the last one is effects of bullying. Okay, based on the provided article, the authors use observation and interview methods. Most of the initial research was conducted outside the United States and focusing on overt bullying. Another method, the author also involves interviewing students. And the result, this article discusses cases of bullying, especially among school children. For bullying includes financial sanctions and civil lawsuits. There are several impacts of bullying that often occur. Therefore, there must be protection for victims as well as developing a bullying prevention system. The first point I find in my article is defining and measuring bullying. Researchers have identified four main types of bullying, uh, such as physical, verbal, relational, and cyber. Physical bullying is characterized by physical acts of aggression, such as hitting, punching, or passing. Relational bullying, also referred to as social exclusion bullying, is characterized by rumor spreading and purposefully leaving others out of activities or interactions or friendship withholding. Verbal bullying is characterized by spoken aggression such as name-calling and teasing. Cyberbullying is per aggression committed using technology such as text message, emails, or social networking sites. Although the term bullying conjures up images of a playground and elementary school-age children, the concepts of bullying extend beyond the very narrow pictures. Recently, the term bullying has been used in the media to describe interaction between nursing home residents, older adults who behave very similarly to the bullies from elementary school, using relational bullying to ostracize it and victimize below resided. Most research employ the standard always definition of bullying, but measuring the presence and occurrence of bullying can still be problematic due to the different perspective of those doing the reporting and the inevitable subjectivity of the reporting. Another technique involves asking to the student whether they view hypothetical situations as involving bullying. Clear definitions are essential in all of these types of studies. Otherwise, response, race, gender, and age can influence interpretation of the words bully and bullying. In fact, simply using the word bully in research studies can decrease self-reporting rates. This may occur because of the negative connotations associated with bullying and the resulting social desirability effects, or simply because people have different notions of what the word means. When Nailor's team asked students and teachers, please say what you think of bullying is, they found that 33% of students and 10% of teachers retracted their definition of direct bullying behaviors, such as punching and teasing, with no mention of social exclusion, power imbalance, intention, or repetition. Only 5.3% of students included social exclusion in their definition. Approximately one-third of the students mentioned the possible effects of bullying, but 79 of teachers mentioned the effects. In addition to the way the questions are asked, another potential reason for the rate of bullying inconsistencies lies in the measurement of bullying. Once the data are collected, researchers have to determine which students fit into the different categories, bullying victim or bullying or victim, yet that is not always a clear decision. The global items ask participants to rate on a 5-point scale. How often have you been bullied at school in the past couple months, and how often have you taken part in bullying another student at school in the past couple months? The response options were I haven't been bullied, other students at school in the past couple of months, only once or twice, 2 or 3 times a month, about once a week, and several times a week. The author contests that using the 2 or 3 times a month response as the lower bound cutoff is appropriate based on the mean difference of externalized and internalized problems among bullies, victims, non-bullies, and non-victims. According to the author's analysis, choosing only only once or twice or about once a week, as opposed to I haven't been bullied other students 2 or 3 times a month. The recommended lower bound cutoff or several times a week would include either too many students or too few, respectively, allowing for over-inclusion and under inclusion of bullying behavior. A survey consisting of demographic items, a form of the always bully or victim questionnaire, and 2 additional bullying items created for the student was given to 705 students from the United States in grades 9 to 10. The types of bullying students report varied, with approximately half of the sample reporting experience with verbal 53% and relational 51% bullying as the bully, victim, or bully or victim. Where student reports experience with the physical bullying is 12 is 12%, and cyberbullying 13%, and cyberbullying 30%. Another potential problem in bullying research is determining which variables are predictors, correlates, or outcomes of participation in bullying. This research can certainly tell us about the relationships between bullying and social behaviors, but we cannot know whether the difference in social behavior precedes involvement in bullying or whether bullying then led to difference in social behavior. We turn next to research that has identified which factor may lead to increased involvement in bullying. Okay, we move to the second point is risk factor related to bullying involvement. Social science research has attempted to determine which variables impact whether a child becomes a bully, victim, or bully or victim. Research has focused on a variety of factors, including social, cognitive, behavioral, family, and environment variables that can make a child more likely to be involved in bullying. We first outlined those factors relate to being a bully, and we then examine those factors relate to being a victim. The first factor is factor related to being a bully. Research has demonstrated that children who are high on hyperactivity and impulsiveness are more likely to become bullies. The same study found that the children who lack empathy are also more likely to bully other children. Additionally, children who have lower IQs, especially nonverbal, are more likely to be bullies. The first factor is factor related to being a bully. Research has demonstrated that children who are high on hyperactivity and impulsiveness are more likely to become bullies. The same study found that the children who lack empathy are also more likely to bully other children. Additionally, children who have lower IQs, especially nonverbal, are more likely to be bullies. It is believed that these factors may contribute to bullying because children who are impulsive and hyperactive, but also low in empathy, might not be able to understand that their actions hurt others. There are particular behavioral tendencies that are related to students being bullies. Children who act or exhibit higher levels or externalizing behaviors are more likely to bullying or students. Children who cause more trouble in school and are more dishonest are also more likely to bully. Similarly, children who are bullies are more likely to have poor self-regulation of their emotions. Okay, the next factors is related to being a victim. Certain cognitive and emotional factors may make children more likely to become victims of bullying. Children who internalize behaviors more than they externalize them and who have fewer high-quality friendships are also more likely to be victimized. In fact, having a best friend is related to decreases in victimization. Similarly, family support serves as a predictor for victimization, with victims having less social support from their parents and non-victims. It seems that secure parental relationships are negatively correlated with some forms and victimization. In particular, a father's involvement in his child's life appears to protect the child from extreme form of victimization. Okay, we move to the third point is effects of bullying. Despite the different methods for measuring bullying and the reason behind bullying involvement, the negative effects of being bullied and being a bully are clear. Experiencing and even witnessing bullying can lead to serious short and long-term negative effects for all involved parties. Bullies are characterized as antisocial, aggressive, and impulsive. They exhibit usually anxiety and insecurity and lack empathy. Being the victim of bullying can lead to a heightened risk of physiological side effects such as depression, suicidal attempts, and intentional. Found that victims were significantly more likely to report suicidal intentions that were bullies. These negative psychological effects have been found to persist into adulthood. Experiencing victimization can lead to poor academic performance and attachment to school, leading to truancy and bad test scores. Students may avoid school to escape victimization, although this option of avoidance is less helpful with cyberbullying, which takes place through social networking and text messaging. Bully or victims, those students who both participate in bullying and are themselves bullied, are the most at risk group. They are not bullied to school, despite the most behavior problems have the highest accepts of defiance and have more defined friends. They also have a greater likelihood of experiencing low familiar warmth and support at home. Although never research focused on cyberbullying has found that this form of bullying is somewhat different from traditional bullying because it occurs outside of school and allows victimization by strangers. Cyberbullying seems to have similar negative effects for cyber victims and cyberbully or victims as compared to the effects on traditional victims. In some ways, however, cyberbullying may be more harmful. Specifically, never research suggests cyberbullying can have even more negative impacts on levels of depression than traditional bullying does, partly because of the accessibility of victims and their ability to victimize anonymously. In general, it is clear that youth involved in bullying suffer negative consequences in the short and long terms. Some studies, such as Turner and Hayton 2010, focus primarily on the more immediate effects, measuring outcome variables at the same time or within 5 years of the negative bullying experience, or stopping measurement on children reach adulthood. Research suggests that support from friends and family is important in bearing the effects of victimization. Furthermore, having a best friend who exhibits a protective factor, operates by sticking up for a friend, eliminates the relationship between victimization and negative internalizing behaviors. In fact, the positive insulation friendship effects were similar for girls and boys. Report the well-established negative effects of victimization and academic performance were lessened when the student had peer social supports and also the family supports decreased the depressive symptoms attributed to victimization. In fact, Stadler et al. Found that middle school age females who were bullied but had parental support were less likely to have high-but harms from being bullied. Warm and positive family relationships and environment seems to protect children from the negative effects of being bullied. Teachers too can have a positive effects. The positive support of teacher and friends lessen the negative effects of bullying on quality of life rating. Unfortunately, those students involved in bullying as victims bullying or bullying victims often have less overall social support than those not involved in bullying. Okay, next point is bullying intervention. The first point in bullying intervention is educational intervention. A popular way to address bullying in school and teacher intervention programs. Such intervention may be applied at the individual, classroom, or school level and can be employed as a way to prevent or address bullying. In general, this program focuses on educating the members of school on how to recognize bullying and what to do when bullying is present. Many of these programs are based on the always model. For instance, developed the bullying prevention program, the goal of which is to prevent and reduce bullying by providing school children with age-appropriate informal or information and interventions. There are school, classroom, and individual level focus in the program. For instance, at the school level, the program involves determining the current status of bullying at a particular school. Additional teacher supervision might be implemented during particular time periods and particular locations that appear problematic based on the answers to the questionnaire. At the classroom level, students are engaged in activities such as role-playing that allow the student to address the harms related to bullying and to explore ways to decrease bullying. At the individual level, the program focuses on providing both support for victims and intervention from students exhibiting bullying behaviors. The program rests on the theory that bullies are engaging in bullying activities as a way to exert their power over lower status victims and that bystanders effectively reinforce bullying behaviors by not getting involved. Another empirically supported intervention program is Bully Boosters, which focus at the classroom level on teacher awareness and develop teachers' intervention skills based on the theory that bullying occurs within a child's larger context of home, peers, and community. The program develops teacher skills related to increasing awareness of bullying, recognizing bullying, intervening when there is bullying, and preventing bullying. The program has generated positive empirical supports. Teachers who have participated in the program have high level of knowledge and use of intervention skills and its implementation in related to reduction in bullying behaviors. In fact, even the abbreviated form of the Bully Busters program had a similarly positive effect on the teacher's ability to intervene in bullying behaviors. Although implementation of bullying intervention programs are frequent, empirical evaluations of them are less common. However, Farrington and Trophy recently conducted a large-scale meta-analysis to examine the effectiveness of bullying programs. The authors conducted a fairly exhaustive search for experimental evaluations of programs meant to reducing incidents of bullying. Okay, next, legal interventions. Recent media and research attention on bullying has resulted in a proliferation on anti-bullying legislation designed to protect students, according to the website Bully Police USA. 49 states in the United States have implemented laws that prohibit bullying behaviors or require faculty or staff to report any bullying to appropriate authorities. Legal interventions, including legislation and criminal and civil penalties, can serve to punish offenders, deter instances of bullying, and encourage schools and parents to preventively control instances of bullying. Commentators have noted, however, that federal and state remedies for bullying may be inadequate because the remedies comes after the harm has already been complete, after the student has already changed school, or when the child is well past 18 years old. Additionally, simply saying that bullying should not occur does not address the myriad causes and consequences of bullying. After analyzing 15 state statutes, Limber and Small recommended that state legislatures precisely and definitively define bullying as opposed to leaving the definition up to individual school boards. This suggests that states required local school boards to develop bullying policies and recommended that such policies promote research-based bullying prevention programs and training for employees. Legal definition of bullying. The definition issues present in the research have spilled into the legal arena, resulting in varying legal definition from state to state, with some statutes including all types of bullying behaviors and others including only physical bullying. Legal definitions generally include intent and harm components but leave out the necessary imbalance of power. It seems, however, that the laws are changing. For example, in 2001, Georgia's anti-bullying statute prohibited physical acts of aggression that cause harm to other students. The updated definition solves many of the issues inherent in the older states by addressing more types of bullying. However, the new definition still does not directly mention the power imbalance required by research definition. Some state statutes do not clearly define what is considered bullying and leave it up to the school boards. For example, the Arkansas anti-bullying statute states the school board of directors in every school district shall adopt policies to prevent pupil harassment, also known as bullying. The policy shall clearly define conduct that constitutes bullying. Not defining bullying, there are more opportunities for definitional inconsistency with the state. Statutory requirements of anti-bullying police. The primary way state legislatures attempt to control bullying is by mandating that schools create anti-bullying police. Statutes vary in how much discretion schools have in creating such police. Some state legislatures are very specific in the provisions and protections that should be afforded to students. As discussed above, there are several empirically tested bullying intervention programs. Currently, no state specifically requires a school district to institute one of these proven programs. In fact, statutes do not require the policies that schools adopt to be empirically tested or research-based. Instead, most legislatures defer to the experience of school administrators and allow them to craft the policy that is best suited for the individual school district. Court intervention, criminal sanctions, legislation that mandates a school bullying policy is a more indirect regulation of bullying. State legislators instruct schools to create policies, but it's still up to the school to implement and enforce the policy. More direct forms of legal intervention for bullying include criminal sanctions, and civil lawsuits if bullying rises to the level of assault (e.a.) and acts that purposely, knowingly, or recklessly causes bodily injury to another. State processes can file criminal charges against the bully, but such criminal prosecution will apply only to physical bullying. Court interventional civil suits against bullies and parents. Students and their parents have also sought civil remedies in response to bullying. In some instances, the victims of bullying may be able to sue their bullies for torture acts. Victims may be able to sue for assault if the bully places them in the threat of bodily harm or battery if the bully causes intentional offensive contact. Court intervention civil suits against schools. In addition to pursuing constitutional and statutory claims, victims may hold schools responsible by way of a tort claim for failing to protect them from bullying. One such tort is negligent supervision. The Supreme Court of New York held that schools have an affirmative duty to adequately supervise students in their charge and that the schools will be held liable for foreseeable injuries that are proximately related to an absence of adequate supervision. Constitutional and United Nations protection. If bullying does occur in a school setting, there may be other ways for victims to hold to the school responsible for any harm that results. The U.S. Constitution might create an affirmative duty to protect students. The Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment guarantees that the government will not deprive persons of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. This may in some circumstances require governments to protect citizens. The Equal Protection Clause prohibits states from denying any person the equal protection of their laws. To prove an equal protection violation, a student must show that he or she was afforded a lower level of protection. For example, if the school deviated from established anti-bullying policies as a result of specific characteristics such as the student's race, gender, or disability. Federal statutory. Okay, the last is conclusion. Extensive bullying research has demonstrated that there are negative effects from being a bully or being bullied. Such negative effects can be far-reaching and long-lasting, but some interventions, especially school-wide or targeted ones, have shown success in reducing both the incidence and negative effects of bullying. Lawmakers have attempted to address bullying by legislative against bullying behaviors at this point. However, the legal attention has been very feeble at best. Legislation also tends to place much of decision-making authority on the individual school districts such that the different districts can decide on interpretation and general methods to address bullying. Future work in this area should consider addressing the legal inconsistencies and provide lawmakers with clear and consistent policies.